Hello, friends, and welcome back to the third episode of our brand new podcast. My name is Chris, and this is Teena. Say hi, Teena.
No. So we've been friends for 30 years, and we met in high school. It was the early 90s, and he's just been hanging around ever since.
True, and for some reason, we have remained friends all this time. And as we hit the 30-year mark, we thought it was time to inflict our friendship upon the world. So we started this podcast.
And voila, here we are. So come with us as we talk about generational conflicts, personal development, and the overall dumbassery of life.
We will tell stories, we'll gossip about people we know, and talk about, hot topics, all while making fun of each other and tormenting each other ruthlessly along the way, like we do.
You think anyone's going to want to hear this?
I have no idea, but that's what we're here to find out. Let's get started. All right, friends. Hi, we're back. We have another segment to talk about now. Because we're a new podcast, everything we do is new. So we keep saying a new segment, another segment, but we're creating segments for you, the people. So let us know what you think about this one as well.
Yes, we want to hear from you.
Yes, we do. We want to hear from them. And we want, especially you, Big Banana Bob, we want to know what you think. So get on it. Let us know, please. You're very integral. You're the integral piece of our show, and you're missing right now.
The glue that holds us together.
We're going to die without you, our single fan. All right, look, so I thought we would talk about you, Teena, co-host superstar. This is all about you today. We'll talk about you in this segment called Adventures in Being Teena.
Thank you so much, Chris, for that great introduction. I actually...
Can you say that without sarcasm, please?
No.
Okay.
I cannot.
Fair enough.
So I just wanted to tell you something that happened in my life. And here's the thing.
Oh, dear.
I'm going to tell you the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not say this lightly, but
Okay.
it is a story about heroism.
Oh. So
I was awakened from a dead sleep by the shriek of my fire alarm. Now, my husband had been away on, he was gone. They send him to conferences all the time. So he was away on a conference. So I was asleep by myself, and I jumped up out of bed instantly, and I shouldn't have been standing. My legs couldn't even take it because I stumbled and I almost fell on my butt.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, I don't know how much experience you have if you're one of those people that's very diligent about changing your smoke detector batteries regularly.
Of course. I'm a good American, Teena. Of course I do.
Some people do it regularly, like when you change the time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We just wait till they start chirping at us. This one started chirping at like 1:30 in the morning.
Yep. Uh-huh.
And so it'll do it every 30 minutes or every hour or something. So I was not getting back to sleep.
No. So
I bravely decided, okay, I'm going to take this on. I'm going to change. Now I decided I was going to change it myself. We have these big vaulted ceilings. So in my room, of course, and the smoke detector's at the highest point because that makes sense, right?
Yes.
I have to die of smoke inhalation before the thing will go off. So I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. I went out to the garage, drug our 6-foot ladder in, went and found a
6-foot ladder. You're 4'1". How did you drag a 6-foot ladder through your house?
Shut up. First of all, 6-foot ladder is the biggest one I have.
That's like a Smurf carrying a ladder through her living room. How is that possible?
I am not that short. Oh my God.
You are 3 apples high and you know it.
Isn't that strawberry shortcake? Wasn't she 3 apples high?
The Smurfs are 3 apples high.
3 apples. Oh, okay. Whatever. I'm getting my stuff crossed. I don't even know.
Oh, that's so funny.
I bravely at 1:30 in the morning, because I found a frog in my garage before, and I screamed and almost wanted to burn the house down. So I braved going out to the garage to get this ladder.
Because of the frog, you almost burned your house down. You said you don't like frogs. Is that what you're telling us?
I don't like frogs.
Okay. Noted.
So, yeah. Anywho, I went and got the ladder, went and found a battery, and then woke up my youngest son, who's 6 feet tall, and made him climb the ladder and change the battery.
And how did he feel about being woken up in the middle of the night to do your handiwork?
Well, I think he was getting up to go to the bathroom because I didn't have to wake him up I said his name and he came out of his room immediately. So I was like,
gotcha.
Were you up?
Well, he hears a Smurf dragging the ladder through the hallway. He's going to wake up.
So anyway, yeah. So when I say I changed the battery, what I mean is I brought the ladder in, I found the battery, and then I made my son do it.
This is why we have children.
Right. And he's afraid of heights. So this kid went up to the second step of the ladder, which is like 1.5 feet off the floor. And he did it. He stretched up there and reached it, changed it. So basically what I'm saying is I was a hero because I project managed the hell out of that. Right.
Absolutely.
I got all the necessary goods together. I, delegated properly.
Of course. I mean, the heroism and bravery
exactly.
You
display and poor Jackson, who was made to do it. And I was like, you need to go higher up on the ladder so you can reach. And he was like, you need to hold the ladder. I was like, Jackson, you're 1 foot off the floor. You're fine. He's not a fan. No. So basically, I, through my leadership, got this done so I could go back to sleep. And also, he annoyed with me? Sure, he was. But I think if we focus on the fact that he has a fear of heights and that he was annoyed with me, we're really taking the focus off the hero, which is me. So I just wanted to share that story with you because it scared me. It scared me. My little heart.
Yes.
Pitter patter. Shot him out of bed.
Fragile little thing that you are.
Yes.
So
that was clearly the excitement in my life.
Wow. How do you handle such drama on a daily basis that occurs to you?
It doesn't happen every day because honestly, that might be a little bit much. But I put on a brave face.
Of course. Well, we admire you for it. The letters of accommodation will surely start flying in for your file. And we're very, very happy to know that you survived this ordeal. And thank that stranger that was in your hallway at 6 a.m., 3 a.m. What was it, 2 a.m. to help you?
It was about 1:30. Yeah, I don't know.
The poor faceless, nameless character that didn't make the interview cut, whatever his name was. Thank him for that.
No, that was my baby boy. I know, but my kids are good. They take care of me. But he was annoyed. He's like, really?
That's so
come
funny.
On, just come do it.
He's 1.5 feet off the ground. But I mean, that is the benefit of being 6 foot tall. You don't have to step very hard to get the task done. Step very high. So
that's true.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I hope we hear more, adventures of being Teena. It sounds,
sure,
dramatic and harrowing and horrifying to be you. And I can't wait to share that with the world.
Here's the thing. I don't like to use the word hero to describe myself. But if you want to use it.
Nor should you.
So lots of fun things like this happen to me all the time. Cute stories. My kids are really unintentionally funny. So I like that. So if anybody wants to hear about it, I will be happy to share in future episodes.
Oh, we're going to share. Whether you want to hear about it or not, people, we're going to share because it tickles me to death to hear these stories. And Teena's life is very funny to me. So I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot more. I'm sure you'll also agree that she is... ridiculous and a very important part of the pod.
I was like, thank you.
All right, people. Now we have some fun. Teena had to step away from the pod and she had to go, tinkle because that's what she does. And last time I stepped away to get a very reasonable coffee from a very reasonable service husband of mine. She said some awful, horrible things about me, and I would like to set the record straight. Everything she said was in fact true, but she didn't tell you the secrets I know about her. And there are a lot. I mean, a lot. People, you don't even know half of them. Like, let's see. The first time she embezzled from a company, she was 14 years old. 14. They didn't even know she was in the office. And she got $185,000. I mean, that's why I became friends with her in the first place. She had a lot of money when I met her, but a lot of people don't know these things. I don't think she's told people. It's just I'm an open book. You can tell me whatever. You can ask me whatever you want. But no. $185,000. Embezzlement at the age of 14. Conspiracy at the age of 18. Wiretapping and fraud at the age of 21. But she never got caught because she was always using different names. Incredible. Here she comes. Shh, don't tell her. Say that you left me alone with their live camera.
Oh,
so
shit.
I returned the favor.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Right now, we're going to do one of our favorite segments, which is our topic talk.
Topic talk. I love them.
So we just pick a topic and then we talk about it.
That's why we call it topic talk. Isn't that great?
Exactly.
It's so clever.
We're super creative with the names of our segments around here. So today, our topic talk is separating the art from the artist, which I thought was actually pretty good because that's this is something I struggle with. I don't know.
It's a real topic. I think it is a real topic to consider. Tell me why you struggle with it. What's going on?
Because, and I think, and I will say that for me, it all started with Michael Jackson. I was a huge Michael Jackson fan, huge, and I still like his music, but I do struggle with, the allegations and all the people, and I know that there's a faction of people who don't believe that anything was wrong, and there's a faction of people that do, and you're probably never going to convince one side or the other. Right. But for me, the evidence was, I believed it. Like it was pretty much there for me, and it just broke my heart. Not that there were worse things that happened within that whole situation, but and then I banned him from my life. I wouldn't listen to any of his music for years and years and years. And it just, I don't know. So it just kind of messed me up. And so now I will listen to it, but I won't purchase anything that I think is going to go
right.
You know what I mean? I mean, he's dead now, obviously, but I don't want any estate or anything making any money off of me.
So, well, it's a very, very common. Obviously, it's a very common decision. It's a very common problem, and Michael Jackson is often the one that people talk about first when they talk about this topic, right?
Yes.
This idea of, do you separate the art from the artist, or can you in fact separate the art from the artist? I don't think it's unnatural to struggle with it. I think it's very, very natural. I think art is so personal and so consumable these days that we take in so much around us between music and television and film, that when these people who create these projects suddenly turn and say or do something that we don't agree with, we're hit with this reality of, what does that mean for how we felt about their art, right? Yeah. I love this song. I love this. Reminds me of this great moment in my life, or this time I saw this, it changed how I felt about whatever. And all of that is now tainted because this artist did or said something you don't agree with, or despicable, right? A horrible person has come out of this. Yeah. So how do you reconcile that? And I think it's a fascinating topic. And I think one of the things that I found interesting doing research in this, I actually learned that most of us are using this concept incorrectly, believe it or not. This idea of separating the art from the artist comes from it's an academic meaning. And I'll read this here. I wrote some notes. The academic meaning is to read a work of fiction without knowing anything other than the author's name. It is an analytical style of consuming and critiquing fiction that allows the words, and only the words on the page, to resonate with the reader, allowing the reader to create their own moments with the text. So it's this idea of nothing influences you except the words on the page and you, the reader, and you get to have your own experience with it. So when we're talking about that, that's really what it means, apparently.
And what's funny is that is how I consume books. That's how I read. Very rarely do I know anything about the authors, right? Except for, the few handfuls that I do like and would read anything that they wrote.
Sure.
But that is how I consume it. It's just not, I think it's so interconnected.
It is, especially if you consider that the way we're using that topic now, the way we're talking about it today, it's really a question you're asking, can I still like the art? Can I still listen to the art of someone I don't agree with, or someone who is an awful person? Because sometimes it's not about agreeing with them, right? Sometimes they're a horrible person. Sometimes you just don't agree politically with what they say. How does that affect you consuming their art? And I think if you consider that financial support of the artist is, in fact, a tacit endorsement of their way of life and what they believe, then you, in fact, cannot separate the art from the artist. Meaning, if you believe that buying the book supports the artist and their way of thinking and their way of life, then you have to accept that. You can't reconcile that, right? But if you don't believe that, buying the book directly supports anti-trans views or what have you, J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter. If you don't believe that, then it's not an issue for you. Most of us today, I think, believe that. Most of us believe that if we are supporting the author financially, we are tacitly agreeing with their lifestyle. And that's where the issue comes in. Would you agree?
I don't know. So it seems like you've done a little more research on this topic than I have. So I don't know if I agree with the consuming the art means I tacitly agree with the artist.
That's the question, right? Yeah.
Right. No, I'm just saying for me, I don't know if that's what I believe. Because for example, there are lots of artists, actors and actresses, probably less so, but musically, music artists that I would say politically I don't agree with, or, whatever, but I do like their music and I will still buy their music because I'm entertained, and that's what I get from their music what you're supposed to get from that kind of thing, the nostalgia, or the memories, or just the good time singing along in the car. But I don't know. I guess you know what? And I guess that was just totally opposite of what I said earlier about Michael Jackson, because I don't want to buy anything and I don't want to support, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah. And I don't think there's one. I honestly don't think there's a right or wrong way to present this. I don't think there's a right answer to this.
Well, and I think it's degrees, right? That must be that's what the difference is, right? So if somebody I don't agree with politically is not necessarily going to start me, unless all of their songs are very political, then I'm going to be like, okay.
Here's an example. If I can throw an example at you of a writer, Ender's Game. Do you remember the movie Ender's Game?
I do.
Do you remember when it came out? There was a big controversy right before it came out. It was revealed suddenly that the author of the book Ender's Game was anti-marriage equality. He expressed some very severe anti-homosexual, anti-LGBT points of view. And yet he had written this wildly successful YA book, and this book was now optioned for a film, and it was launched, filmed, and they were getting ready to open, right? And all of a sudden this was announced, and people were like, well, what do we do? Are we going to support, or are we going to not? And of course the actors and the creatives on the film went out and pled their case, saying they didn't know when they took on the project that he was this person, but they were asking us to look at the artwork as standalone piece because they put so much work into it. And a lot of us had to decide whether we were going to support it or not, right? I did not go watch the film because of that, but that was my personal choice. So I get that it's challenging, because I still listen to Michael Jackson music when it comes on. I love it. It. But yet I drew the line at Ender's Game. So it's a very personal choice for sure, I think.
Absolutely. No, it is. And for me, I think that's the difference, is it's degrees. So, if it's just that we have a difference of opinion, I think people having differences of opinion now, there are degrees also of differences of opinion where I'm not going to be like, that's not a difference of opinion. That's a difference about what human rights is. You know what I mean? So there's levels on that too. But if it's just like, I'm more liberal, or I'm more conservative, or whatever, that's fine. I think that's the beauty of all of us individuals getting together, right? Learning from each other and having different opinions. It would be so boring if we all thought exactly the same way. But yeah, to degrees.
I think I agree with you, and I think no matter how much we have this conversation, and no matter how many times people go around and around, I think we generally come back to the same ideas, that it's an incredibly personal choice. Obviously, there are degrees to how you're going to apply this, right? I know some people, my husband in particular, takes it very personally. He is very personally offended by things that I find very odd, quite frankly. Sometimes I'm like, really? He told me I could talk about this. So I giving this example of his, he was very angry and will no longer support Harrison Ford, the actor. He will not see any Harrison Ford films because of Harrison Ford's alleged decision to hold up the Star Wars franchise, because he wanted more money. When they were doing the whole new series many decades ago now, 7, 8, and 9, or 1, 2, and 3, or whatever the hell it was, he wasn't going to come back. He held out for a lot more money, and that offended a lot of fans, and Brian was one of them. So Brian was never, boom. For me, I was like, well, it's a business decision. I get it 100%. It didn't bother me whatsoever. So I get that it's a personal decision. But then
there's me who didn't know that.
Well, that's just it.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's just it. And what like we all get to make our own choices about how we're going to handle that type of
Of
situation.
course.
So I don't think there is a one answer fits all kind of solution to this problem. But what I found really interesting in doing this research was a question that none of us were really talking about was, what do you do with that attachment, that emotional and personal attachment to the piece of art that you are now questioning whether you should enjoy, right? An entire generation of people grew up reading Harry Potter, right? They have profound connections to those books. Did you ever read all of those books?
I have multiple
Yeah,
times.
right.
I've seen
So
every one of
exactly,
the movies. Yeah.
profound connections to those books, and they are wonderfully inspiring. And as an adult, I read them and I go, oh, I can separate. I can look at, J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter and go, that's a shame. I don't really feel the need to support her, but it's not going to affect me by not supporting her. But there are children who grew up loving that character. There are children who do. I have friends who have tattoos of Harry Potter characters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, these are
and this is where
really
I think
affected by that. And how do they deal with this now disappointment from this author if they're disappointed by her actions?
so I think the difference is they don't idolize the author, right? I mean, she did get a little bit more celebrity because she wrote those books and her backstory was interesting, being on welfare or whatever. But for me, how I'm understanding this is the difference is it's one thing to fall in love with those characters, and you can still not idolize the artist, the person who wrote it.
So you're still allowed to have those connections with Harry Potter. You're still allowed to have I hope so too. I agree. I think you're still allowed to have the love and joy that you experience from those characters.
And I'll give you so we go back to talking about Michael Jackson. I idolized Michael Jackson. I thought he was the coolest thing ever. He just lived this whole fantasy life and, Neverland and all the animals and all. I just thought he was amazing. And so when all of that started coming out, I was one of the first people, and my knee-jerk reaction was like, it's not true. It's not true. People are trying to get money out of him. Someone's looking, because that's always it. But then the more I was willing to pay attention, because initially I didn't even want to see anything about it. I just wanted to bury my head in the sand, and not pay any attention. And then the more that I did pay attention, the more I was like, oh no. Like I said, I just had to cut it all out for years. And if a song came on the radio, I changed it. I deleted all of the music because by this point, it was more digital stuff. I got rid of any CDs that I had of his, everything just done. Right. And another time that this happened was Bill Cosby. So
perfect example.
My grandfather was a huge Bill Cosby fan. He used to have the records. So when these comedians came up and had records, he had all of Bill Cosby's records. I remember listening to him with my grandpa, and then I remember eventually watching him on TV, and Bill Cosby was like some of the funniest stuff I'd ever heard. And I love comedians. I just love to laugh.
You too.
Yeah. And so I had bought tickets to see him right before the story broke.
Wow.
And I was like,
I didn't know that. Wow.
Oh yeah. I had tickets. Wow. I had tickets. In fact, I still have the tickets somewhere.
Wow.
And I was like, what do I do? Like, I've already paid the money. Like, I'm not going to get my money back. Right.
Right.
And I had the physical tickets. Well, the decision ended up being made for me because by the time we were about a month out of his show, because I bought him like way far in advance. Right. By the time we were about a month out of the show, like another 20 women had come out, so and they canceled the show. And so I already got a refund and everything. But and then it was like, what the hell? But I will tell you,
example. Does it matter then now that he was in fact convicted, but his conviction has been overturned? So like, where does that fall into whether you accept what he has done or not? For me, the damage is done, right?
Right. And I agree.
Bill Cosby's damage is done. I don't care if on a technicality he was overturned. It seems very likely that he drugged women and did inappropriate things. So for me, it's done. But like, is that true for an Uber fan? Is that true for someone who wasn't sure that the conviction in the first place? It's just this area that it's not. This idea of cancel culture is really challenging when you really dive into when do you apply it and when do you not.
Yeah, and I agree. But I do think, as a society, we should draw some lines.
Absolutely.
And there should be some hard and fast lines, because honestly, that's the best way that the populace can show support or non-support is, you vote with your money, right? So you have the opportunity. There's lots of places that I don't shop anymore. for different reasons. So it's just an adjustment. And I do remember when the whole Bill Cosby thing came out, I remember being heartbroken on that as well, because I mean, who didn't grow up on the Cosby Show that's in our generation, and stuff like that. But I do also remember thinking, at least, my grandfather had passed a few years before this all happened with Bill Cosby. And I thought, well, at least my grandfather doesn't have to see that, because he was such a fan, such a fan.
Yeah.
So,
and we don't quite realize sometimes what that fan connection is to the artist, and that really can upset and devastate some people. And it sounds silly, but we end up creating these really deep connections with the personalities we enjoy watching on TV and film. And when they disappoint us, it's real. It's a real disappointment,
Absolutely.
I find this conversation fascinating. I hope you did. I hope that people at home did as well. I think this is something we'll probably talk about again.
Oh yeah.
I have many strong feelings about this, and I don't think this conversation will end whether Diddy is convicted or R. Kelly remains in prison or any of these things happen, because unfortunately it's an awful part of humanity, and we're going to have to continue to deal with it when people continue to disappoint us. And I just think it's a great conversation to be had.
Yeah, and absolutely. And people can definitely leave their thoughts in the comments. If there's any particular story they would like to share, I would love to hear it. It is disappointing when your heroes are not the people you thought they were.
Yeah.
And then also sometimes the person wasn't your hero, but you really enjoyed their art. Like in the case of J.K. Rowling, I loved those books, but I didn't really know a whole lot about her. And then she started coming out as, all the anti-trans stuff online. And I was just like, oh no.
Right.
No.
Right. No. No, I know. And so I don't, like I said, we're not solving any grand problems here today on our podcast, but we're opening a dialogue and continuing the conversation. So join us in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts on this, and let us know if we're off the mark. Let us know what you think. If you're against what we say, that's fine too. We love respectful conversations and respectful debates. Keep it respectful, people, and we won't have a problem.
We just delete that comment. Delete
and block. We delete and block around here very quickly. Teena, would you like to add anything else before we go?
That is all I have for this segment. I appreciate it, though.
All right, very thorough. Folks, we'll see you next time. Come on back. We have another segment. Oh, you only want to know what's coming up next. Ooh, it's a fun one.
I'm scared.
Bye. Hello and welcome back. Guess what, folks? This next segment has become one of my favorite things in the entire world. This is a segment I like to call This or That. Okay, so if you happen to watch our second podcast episode, and if you didn't, I mean, what are you doing with your life? Why would you not be watching every episode we drop immediately?
Right.
I mean, Teena, really, what are these people doing? Why are we wasting our time if they're not watching it immediately?
I watch us.
I do too. We're a hoot. If you did not see our second episode, please go watch it. But if you did, you know that we did a game called This or That. And it was a bunch of wild and wacky questions. And I became incredibly enamored and tickled by the way Teena processed this information, and her decision-making technique should be trademarked. I loved it. It made me giggle. It was fun. So we're going to do it again.
Okay.
And if it works again, we're going to keep doing it until the wheels fall off this joke. Okay.
All right.
How's that?
Sounds good. I'm prepared. I know that you were kind enough to send me a list. I didn't look at it because I didn't look at the last one. And I think that works out better.
I'm glad you didn't look at the questions. I love it. Remind me not to scratch my nose on camera because it looks like I'm picking my nose all the time.
I know, me too. And this one, I keep doing this.
Okay. They're like, why is he doing cocaine? I swear I'm not. It's very dry here. It's very itchy.
Yeah.
All right.
God.
So, this or that. It's a very simple game. I'm going to ask Teena whether she would like to have this or that as part of her life, and she can choose to answer that any way she wants to. That's the fun. Here we go. Teena, would you rather have a nose that grows like Pinocchio when you lie, or ears that flap when you're embarrassed?
So, okay. I don't have any questions. That one's actually pretty straightforward.
Okay,
I'm going to say ears that flap when I'm embarrassed, because I don't want people to know when I lie. I don't lie very often, but sometimes, you tell little like, oh yeah, you look great, or oh yeah, I thought that
I
was
love your haircut.
I love your haircut. Yeah, and I don't need people to be like.
But okay, so were you ever one of those people like, oh, you're blushing when you were younger, and you start to blush, and everyone would make fun of you, and you get more embarrassed? Did that ever embarrass you at all?
No.
Oh, so you don't care. Flop the ears, ladies. Flop the ears away. Okay, great.
I honestly don't think I get embarrassed that often. I mean, it does happen. Like I said,
I think I could embarrass you in public.
I bet you could. And we actually were talking about this the other night, or actually last night, because we were talking about the fall at the Titanic. We'll tell that story another time.
Oh,
when we went to see Titanic and I fell. So that kind of stuff embarrasses me, especially because you guys were laughing so hard. And I was like trapped on the ground.
And we have laughed about it for 25 years continuously. Yes.
Anyway, we can talk about some of those things. But yeah. So I do get embarrassed, but I don't think I get embarrassed as often as I do little white lies like, oh no, that tasted good. Remind me not to eat that again or whatever.
Right. So, the amount of times she's told me, no, it was funny. I promise. You're really talented. You look great. I know. I get it.
I don't lie to you.
Please. Okay. You're so lucky that nose ain't growing, girl. You lucky.
All
right.
Next.
Would you rather live in a haunted mansion or live in a spaceship orbiting Earth? Live in a haunted mansion or live in a spaceship orbiting Earth?
Do I get to come home ever from space, or do I have to live there forever by myself? Because I could dig with the living by myself, but do I get to come home?
I would say that you could travel as freely as you do now. Whether you're in the haunted house is not going to possess you and keep you in the haunted house. And if you're orbiting Earth, you get to come home twice a year. How about that? Twice a year, you get to come home. At the haunted house, you can leave whenever you want.
Yeah, but so here's the thing: when it gets dark, my imagination, I got a little bit of an imagination. I read, and it's weird some of the stuff that I read that I can even sleep. But I don't think if it was actually haunted and if I believed in ghosts, and so I was actually experiencing all of that stuff, I don't think I could live in a haunted house. I would have to say, if those are my choices, I'm going to live in space, but I'm going to come home twice a year.
But you're just going to orbit floating around in space. And you're going to be fine with that.
I guess. Would I even be able to walk if I was weightless that long? Once I got to Earth, I just collapse.
No, you have to. I mean, you wouldn't quite collapse, but there's exercises you have to be doing while you're in space.
Oh, yeah.
When you come home. Yeah. Okay. See, I think I'd rather deal with demons and ghouls, quite frankly, than the physicality of living in space.
Yeah. I don't know. Right. For now, I'm picking space. I think
space.
That's what for me.
Okay. All right. Would you rather have spaghetti for hair or marshmallows for hands? I actually couldn't wait to ask you that stupid question. Would you rather have spaghetti for hair or marshmallows for hands?
Is it just the noodles or is the sauce included with the spaghetti?
I knew you were going to ask about the noodles, the pasta. I think you have to wear the marinara. I think it's a wet spaghetti dish on top of your head. I mean, it's not going to obviously just spray everywhere or whatever. Right. It's magical, but there's
I'm worried
marinara.
About if I lean my head back on my headrest in the car or when I sleep, there's just going to be sauce everywhere.
Correct.
It's going to be a mess. But if I had marshmallow hands, I couldn't do anything because I couldn't pick anything up or write or.
Right.
They're just floppy.
And if you burn them.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you got them too hot, what would happen?
They'd melt in the shower. It'd be all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to say spaghetti hair.
Spaghetti hair. Okay. Spaghetti hair. See, I would also be worried about eating my marshmallow hands personally because I really like marshmallows. And I would just eat my hands.
You're just like,
well, whatever. I've got marshmallow hands. What am I going to do? What am I going to do with them? Eat them.
Right? Oh, no.
Okay, so spaghetti for hair. Got it.
Spaghetti for hair.
Would you rather be constantly itchy or constantly sticky?
Oh, I don't.
I know.
I don't like either of those. And what am I sticky from? Is it just like my skin is sticky? Or is it like... And I'm constantly sticky where? Like sticky hands? Sticky all over? I need to know.
Yes. I think you're constantly sticky. Everything you touch and everything that touches you is sticky. So it's your hands, it's your skin. Everywhere your skin is sticky. It's like a tacked paper or something,
Okay.
And then what's the other one?
Itchy. It's same thing.
You're
itchy
just
everywhere.
Itchy everywhere. Yeah.
Oh no.
I
don't like that.
Oh no.
So
itchy is bad.
Itchy is the
Itchy
worst.
usually means something else is going on, right? Itchy is, I mean, although if you're oozing stickiness, I assume something else is going on too.
Am I like one of those poisonous toads? If somebody licks me, do they die? Well, I guess that would make me venomous, right? Oh no, if I bit them,
yeah.
and
no, they're not
going
to get high, but they might stick to you though. They might stick their tongue to you. How sticky are you?
I don't know, but honestly, between the two, I think you're right. If I am itchy, especially everywhere, I'm going to scratch through my skin. It's going to be I don't. Everybody's had an itch they couldn't reach, like maybe when, the middle of your back or something. It's insanity inducing. So I would say I would be sticky.
What was that?
Because I think sticky is gross.
Oh yes,
sticky is gross, but I might actually go insane if I was itchy all the time.
I think I would. I would lose my mother flipping mind if I
don't think I could focus. So I'll say sticky, unfortunately.
Yeah, that would also drive me crazy, but I'd take that over anything other than that.
Yeah.
Okay, next. These are very important questions, people, and I hope you understand the depth of research that we did to get here today, because these questions may change the world. You never know. Teena, would you rather have a tongue that glows in the dark or hair that changes color with your mood?
Oh, I think the hair that changes color with my mood would be awesome.
Yeah.
Except, hold on. Let me think this through a little bit.
Sure. Tell us about it.
If I don't know, that could be bad at work. You know what I mean? So like if mood coloring, only because then people would everybody would get to know what color meant what.
Sure.
And I don't know, but the glow in the dark tongue.
Where could that be a problem? That couldn't be a problem for anyone, could it? I don't think so.
Well, when I open my mouth, so the back of my tongue would glow. So like,
oh, everything's glowing. You open your mouth and everyone's seeing your tongue glowing in the dark.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the hair. Really? I can see some downsides to it, but what colors does it turn?
Well, I don't know. Like
it's like a mood ring?
symbolic colors, right? So you're angry, it would turn black. If you're horny, it'll turn green. If you're scared, it'll turn yellow. I don't know. These are the colors associated with, right? If you're brave, it'll turn blue, I guess.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go with the hair.
Okay, cool.
I think for the most part that would be cool. There would be a couple of times when it would be uncomfortable, and I would have to just bring a hat with me, like a beanie.
Is it the same hat that you tucked your bunny ears under?
Yes.
That hat? Okay, got it.
It would be that hat.
I gotta tell you, I think I would go with glowing tongue because there's just the sheer shock factor. Like, just if you're ever like in a bar fight with someone, or someone's just pissing you off, or like you just turn around and just go, it's just like people would freak the fuck out if your glowing tongue came out of your mouth. Or you're just in a movie theater, you just tap someone on the shoulder, and they turn around and you stick your tongue out at them. Like, that would be really kind of cool.
That's an interesting life you live there. How often are you getting in bar fights?
Just a few.
Well, okay. I mean, yeah, there's valid points either way.
It's those Harry Potter fans. I gotta knock them down an inch or two. No, I think for the mood hair color thing would be fun, obviously, and yeah, it could be problematic because people would know why are you turning black? Why is your hair being bitchy? Like, what's going on?
As you're talking to a customer, it just starts to get dark.
Yeah, exactly. Flame red, coming off your head. Right. But the shock value I could inflict on people with a glow in the dark tongue would just be too much to resist. I couldn't. I have to have a glow in the dark tongue.
Yeah, I can. Oh, right. Solid argument. I can totally see it.
All right, this is just too much. Let's end this last one here. All right. Let's do two more. Would you rather have hands that function as flashlights or feet that function as pogo sticks? Hands that function as flashlights or feet like pogo sticks.
Are they all the time? They have a function like Inspector Gadget, or are my feet always pogo sticks?
I think you're much like the marshmallow spaghetti hair question or whatever the hell it was. I think they're always there. I think you're going to be hopping around on pogo sticks. Or
so the flashlight hands, is it Iron Man, like, and it's out of my palm, or like each fingertip a flashlight?
I think you no longer have a hand. You have what we would call a flashlight that requires 2 double D batteries or whatever the hell they're called.
So no finger. I wouldn't have any fingers.
No, your hand would just be. You
said it functioned like a flashlight. You didn't say flashlights for hands. So I
have hands. Okay, you're right. Have hands that function as flashlights or feet that function as pogo sticks. Okay, fine. So they are still anatomically hands and feet.
Gotcha. I'm gonna pick the flashlight hands because I think that would be cool.
What
As
would
long
you
as
do?
I have fingers, I don't know,
Yeah.
because
What would
you're
you do with
walking around
flashlight
at
hands?
dark at night. I mean, you always have a light on you, right? You need to see
Right.
something, you just hold your hand up and it glows or has like a little circle with the
But what if that thing you see is something you need to get away from quickly? Then you got
then
pogo
make
feet.
fists. Turn the lights off. They can't see me. Put my hands in my pockets.
I love it. Okay, that's true. That's what you would do with your flashlight hands.
Yes.
Oh,
That's what I would
wow.
do.
All right. Last question.
Okay.
Would you rather live in a world where dinosaurs still exist or where robots rule? And we're talking AI robots. We're not talking Disney animatronics.
So the
We're talking
robots
Skynet.
rule or dinosaurs just exist?
Correct.
Do they exist everywhere or just like on an island, like in Jurassic Park?
Well, that's not very scary, is it? Just don't go to the island and you're good. No, they exist everywhere. They're amongst us. They're at the grocery store. They're at the gas station.
I don't like the idea of robot rulers. Like we built you. Now why are you guys the rulers?
You say you say that like it's a controversial thought, a controversial stance to make. I don't like the idea of robot rulers. I don't think a lot of people are going to disagree with you.
Yeah, I don't also like the idea that I could get stepped on by a Brachiosaurus or something. You know what I mean? Also T-Rexes. No, thank you.
Hold on.
What? I'm just saying.
Brachiosaurus, is that a real one, or isn't that like the things inside your lungs? What the little capillaries inside your lungs? I don't know.
Bronchial.
Bronchial.
So I said a Brachiosaurus, not a bronchial, whatever. And I don't know why I'm touching my chest.
Now I need a bronchiosaurus. So, all right.
Whatever. Okay. I'm just saying there's a lot of giant dinosaurs that will come tramping through the area and destroy your house, and you'll be sleeping, right? So what do we have to go back to living in caves where they can't get to?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, God, or underground or some kind of thing.
So I have to choose the robot overlords.
What? You're going with the AI? You're going with Skynet? Don't you think we could ever eventually overthrow the dinosaurs before we could overthrow Skynet?
Yeah, I don't. Those are bad choices, both of them. I do not like it.
Yes, this wasn't.
But I also think that the robots would be very, what was that movie with Keanu Reeves? The Matrix. So I think it would be very much like they have this order, and if you lived within the order, you followed the rules. Not that it would be fun, but necessarily it might not also be that bad. But I don't know. I just couldn't. If getting crushed by a dinosaur or going to the grocery store and getting eaten by a T-Rex is not something that I would want either, because the car's not going to keep them out.
No.
Me being in a car is not going to keep a dinosaur from squashing.
No, but I mean, I think we could imagine that we've adapted a society where we can learn to, maybe our towns are electrified somehow, our borders are protected.
So is this part of the game? So our towns are electrified in a dinosaur world? You didn't tell me that. You just said.
Well, if you're going to go logically, if humans exist with dinosaurs, how would we exist with them? I think we would grow defenses and learn defenses against the dinosaurs before we could against Skynet. That's my stance. All
right, well, good for you. You're allowed to have your own opinion. We disagree.
She just called me stupid and wrong. Did you hear that? Okay, well, since we're not going to agree on anything today, that's the end of this or that. We will probably do this again, but we'll probably change it up. Maybe you'll ask me some questions.
Maybe I can ask you. Yes, absolutely.
Selfish person who never wants to know anything about me. Gosh.
Okay. I'll ask you questions next time. We'll see how that goes.
All right, folks. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see you at the next segment. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are here to do another segment of Topic Talk. I like Topic Talk. Topic Talk is fun because, look, it's not a new concept, right? It's a hot topic idea. All the talk shows do it. The blogs do it. Or the blogs. What are we in 1992?
Right.
The podcasts do it and such. So it's a great way. But we also get to choose whatever topic we want to talk about. And sometimes it's very current. Sometimes it's in the zeitgeist. Sometimes it won't be. Sometimes it'll be personal between the two of us. and you'll just go along for the ride. But today, we're talking about a topic that's a little bit of both. It's certainly in the zeitgeist. It has become a huge form of entertainment in the past 15 years, and yet Teena doesn't know much about it. And so we're exposing some new stuff to our friend Teena. Today, we're talking about the art of drag.
I know a little bit about drag. I mean, I think I know the important things, right?
Well, tell me what you know about drag. What is drag to you? If I say drag queen or drag performance, what does that mean?
I think it is the art of a man transforming himself into a woman or a character or, whatever that may be. Because I've seen the artistry of it is fantastic. First of all, what I know about drag: RuPaul, Trixie Mattel, Katya. And I know Trixie and Katya together. I know RuPaul's got a show. I think he's had a couple of versions of it, or maybe it's just been on forever. Drag Race, but I've never actually watched an episode. I have nothing against it. It's never fallen into.
So
my...
you hate gay people, is what
right?
You're telling
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Please,
but
all right.
Yeah,
So you've never seen an episode of Drag Race ever?
No. I've seen clips from it. So online there'll be like a clip of, but I don't get who the people are or what they're beefing about. Usually it's there's a fight of some kind.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's totally fair. And I love this because I came to drag later in life, and I have a whole origin story myself. Drag for me, a little bit different. I have been to some drag shows in my younger days in New York City, a place called Barracuda, a couple other places in town. I'd go to the drag shows just by happenstance, right? It was never something I intended to do. I'd be out with friends and, there's a drag show. Yeah. And I always loved them. They were fun. I was always a little intimidated by them because I was young. I was 21 and 22, and they were so confident in what they were doing, and I certainly wasn't, so I always found it a little bit intimidating. When I was 21, we spent New Year's Eve in Atlanta, and I met a drag queen. I don't even remember her name. She came up to me and asked me to dance, and I danced with this gorgeous queen, and we just had a great time. But I was always a little intimidated by them, by their confidence, I would imagine, right? It was just always a little, I don't know what that is about it. And so RuPaul, of course, Cover Girl, you know that song from our day, right? It was a huge hit. So we were all exposed to RuPaul, and we learned who she was and everything. And then Drag Race came along several years later, a decade plus or more, whatever it is. I think 2000. Oh my God, this is season 17. So what's 25 minus 17? That's when it aired. So, So Drag Race came along, and I was like, oh no, I can't do another reality competition show. It was a version of America's Next Top Model and Project Runway. That's what RuPaul's Drag Race was the model for. Those two kind of combined together, and I was saturated with America's Next Top Model and Project Runway at that point. So I wouldn't watch. Plus, it was on a very obscure network called Logo, which was a gay network. And so I never watched it. Fast forward to January 2020, before the pandemic, I'm working on a film set, and I have an incredible amount of downtime, and I'm by myself. And so I go, I want to watch TV. Let's watch an episode of Drag Race just to see what it's about. And I tune into their current episode of their All-Stars season, and from that moment on, the bricks started to tumble, and I became an obsessed fan, and I went down the rabbit holes. So I've been a fan ever since. I've consumed every season of Drag Race. You are correct. RuPaul does have a show or two. Drag Race is 17 seasons strong. It just premiered its 17th season, and she has, I am not kidding you, I think, now I don't even remember, 13 or 14 franchises around the world. So there's Drag Race Canada, Drag Race UK, France, Spain, Italy, Australia, Philippines. It's remarkable what this woman has built. This RuPaul is a business guru and has taken drag to a whole level that no one anticipated. So it is a huge juggernaut of entertainment around the world. It's something that was unexpected, and now people cannot get enough of it. So I become a huge fan because of exactly what you said. The artistry of it. The artistry of that is just incredible. So you're right. Drag is men dressing up like women in its simplest form, but it's actually grown into more of a gender expression art form, right? So you can be transgender man or woman. You can be a cisgender man or woman and call yourself a drag queen these days. On Drag Race, we have had transgender men, transgender women, cisgender women, lesbians, and a heterosexual male, believe it or not. So they have been, all of them have been covered and been performing as drag queens.
Yeah, the characters that they once they're made up, right? The characters are just so, like, I understand what you were saying about the confidence and the stuff. You know, they've developed this whole character, and there's this swagger with it, and all of this stuff. And honestly, I have a hard time putting eyeshadow on correctly because, you know, I'm like, why do I need to use 3 different colors of eyeshadow? I don't understand. You know, I've never been good with makeup. And then you see, I've watched a couple of videos of Trixie going from, you know, naked face to fully made up, and it's fascinating. It is just right? Fascinating. And I'm like, I can't do that.
A lot of women can't do that. A lot of women watch Drag Race for that very reason, to get makeup tips, but also because it's wonderfully entertaining. It's highly entertaining. It's colorful, it's emotional, it's touching, it's all of that good stuff. And there's drama, and there's bitingness and all that good stuff. But the popularity of this show has spun this incredible fandom that has actually the potential to be incredibly toxic. The RuPaul's Drag Race fandom on social media, the queens even take a time. Oh, it's rough. They are cutthroat and brutal about what they like and don't like about each queen. And there's an intense amount of racism and other issues within the fandom. It's really incredibly unfortunate, but the racism is real and deep, and something these queens are struggling with now. It's sad.
Can I ask you a question though? So some of the clips I told you I've seen, I don't really know if it's part of Drag Race. So I have seen Trixie and Katya's, they've got their short little web show that they do.
Their web series called On.
Yes. So I've seen a couple of episodes of that. The two of them are hilarious together. They're hilarious.
Great story. Yeah.
And but so the things I think that I've seen that are clips of Drag Race might not be, but I've seen Trixie interviewing some of the queens that come on.
Okay.
Like, so I don't know if that's a separate show.
It is. It's a show. It's a YouTube channel. It's the Drag Race YouTube channel, and it's called Pit Stop. And they review the week's current episode. So it's a reaction video to the current episode of Drag Race, and it itself is very popular. It gets 1 million+ views every week, and Trixie was the longtime host of that. She is not the current host this year. Monet Exchange is the host this year. Who, if you don't know that name, go down that rabbit hole. She is fierce and fantastic. So you've seen Pit Stop references probably more than RuPaul's Drag Race, which makes sense because Pit Stop is a YouTube channel.
The only thing at the YouTube Drag Race, the one specific episode and I didn't even see an episode, I just saw the clip, was when I think Lady Gaga was on the show.
Yes.
And she came dressed up as like a Lady Gaga drag queen or whatever, and they figured it out pretty quickly, or she let it out pretty quickly. But it was just like somebody had edited that down, and I saw the little 1 minute clip.
Around seasons 8 or 9, Drag Race became very popular. It was rising steadily, but somewhere around 8 or 9, the world caught on, and suddenly there were celebrities and high names, and everyone was watching. And so Gaga's been on, Ariana Grande's been on, Katy Perry. It's a huge draw for people to come visit the workroom and be a part of the show. There's a celebrity Drag Race version, which is one of my favorite versions in the franchise, where they take seasoned queens and they coach celebrities, but they keep the celebrity anonymous, like the Masked Singer, so you only ever see them in drag performing. You don't know who the celebrity is, and when they get eliminated, they reveal who they are. Oh, it's so fun. It's such a fun show.
Okay, how can I watch that? That sounds
I think you have to. Paramount Plus, I think, is showing that here in America.
What is that called? Hold on, I'm gonna write this down.
It's called Celebrity Drag Race. Or secret Celebrity Drag Race. That's what it is. It's a fun show. Don't watch the first season. The first season's kind of crap. It's not the format they use. The second season's the correct format.
Okay.
Fun.
Hold on. Season 2.
Gonna take notes. Anyways, I love it.
Yeah.
So obviously you can tell I'm a huge fan of drag. It has changed many, many people's lives. It has changed my life as a member of the queer community. It's to see our representation up there and to see us succeeding is remarkable. It has inspired me in a way that I never knew. I don't want to be a drag queen. I couldn't even begin to have the patience or the skill set to do it. I have
a friend that I used to work with that he would do it. But I saw a couple of pictures So I know that
local drag is huge. I mean, that's where all the girls come from. All the girls start out in local drag, right? They all start there. So I would be excited for us to go see a drag show sometime. Next time we're together, let's try and see a show.
Okay.
Because I think we would have a great time. We went and saw the Thunder Down Under together in Vegas, right. So I think we should go see a drag show as well.
I would love that. I think that would be so much fun. I would love that.
Okay, cool. I will talk more about drag because it's a huge part of my entertainment world and such, but it's also a very big, inspiring part of it. And the reason I wanted to talk about it today is because I had a really kind of interesting reaction as a drag fan this past week, which I wanted to share with you because this just goes to show this emotional connection that people can gain through art, right?
Okay.
We in the drag community, we as a fan of drag, we lost a queen this week called the Vivian. She died unexpectedly over the weekend at the age of 30.
I actually heard about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The age of 32, tragic, and she was the first winner of Drag Race UK, the first season of UK. So she has been around now for about 10 years. I think her whole career lasted since Drag Race, rather 7 years, something to that effect. Anyways, one of the most incredibly beautiful, incredibly funny, wildly talented queens that exists. She came back to do what was called All Stars, All Winners, which was a version of Drag Race where only the winners came back to compete. Okay, and she came in, by all accounts, second place behind a woman named Jinx Monsoon, who you should also know. But the Vivian is a... I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Jinx Monsoon. The Vivian was a remarkable performer. And when I found out she died, I was struck. I was shook. I was gooped and gagged, as the girls say, because I was so unbelievably sad. I went through the stages of grief for a person I didn't know. And I have never experienced that. For like 3 days, I would think about her and I would cry. I would get emotional. It was wild. And my husband was like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I'm sure I am. I just have never had this experience with a celebrity person that I didn't know." She had really touched a lot of people, and it was so sad to lose her the way it did.
That just speaks to the connection people make with art. You know, I mean,
it really does.
Because it just touches people in such different ways. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was sad. And so I will miss her. We will miss her. She was a wonderfully talented queen. She will never be forgotten. She will always be around. It just so happened to be that there was a huge convention in the UK this week called DragCon. RuPaul also created DragCon, like Comic-Con, but for drag queens. Okay. So there's a DragCon in LA and a DragCon in the UK, wildly successful. So this weekend was DragCon UK, and the Vivian was the UK queen. She was the queen of the UK. Right. So everyone was paying great respects to her. And it was a wonderful tribute weekend to her, and everything was lovely. But we're shook. The community, the fans, the fandom, we're shook by it. And there are people, disgusting, horrendous, wretched, horrible people in the fandom and from the series, you know who you are and which queen I'm talking about, who have said horrible things about the Vivian since she died. And I wish nothing but horrible dreams for those people for the rest of the year. Wow, they're bitter, evil people. And the queen in particular has been a blight on the franchise since she won the second season. She knows who she is. And everyone is not happy with her. So I will leave it. I will leave you with that bit of homework to decipher. Fans in the audience, Big Banana Bob, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I encourage you to do a little digging online. And if you have not experienced Drag Race, I would encourage you all to tune in, to check it out. Most of you probably have seen something about it by now, but if you haven't, you're missing out on some really fun, artistic, weird, wild people, and it's a great, great show. And we will talk about drag more if you don't mind.
I don't mind, and I'm going to watch some of this, and then we can talk about. So at least I can say, well, I saw this episode, and this is what I liked and didn't like, or whatever. And we can I'll have a little bit more of a point of reference than just the three people that I know.
Yes, and girl, we're going to get into Trixie and Katya, who they are, how they became what they are, what their story is, how they lost it all and gained it back. I mean, it's a remarkable story in itself. Really? So there's a lot to tell. Maybe we'll do a drag recap segment on once a month or something like that to bring it up to speed. But we didn't even get to talk about, like, is it dangerous? Is it an art form? Do we need to keep children away? Which is all this wonderful, wonderful conservative bullshit to talk about sometime. We have made a conscious decision to keep this podcast as friendly and negative free as possible, a positive space. And so we're not going to play into that, but when it does rub up against my people, my passion, my community, I'm going to speak out about it. It just has to happen that way.
Of course.
So anyways, thanks for listening to me. I hope you come along with me on this Drag Race review moment. I think you're going to love it. And like I said, you'll get to know some pretty wild characters, and we'll have a lot of fun discussing them along.
I am excited because first of all, I personally love, the Masked Singer. And I just love the whole mystery of it all. Like, who is it? Who is it? And you always think you have it figured out, and then it's not them. So I'm excited about the Secret Celebrity Drag Race.
You're going to love that one. You're going to love that one. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to figure out how I can watch it, and then I'll watch it.
And then I think what I would recommend for you and for anyone who hasn't seen it, start with All Stars, All Winners, which was All Stars season 8.
All Stars, All Winners.
7. Shit. People in the comments, let me know. 7, 8? I think I can't remember. All Stars, All Winner. So winners from the franchise came back to compete in the All Stars format. So there is RuPaul's Drag Race, and then if you don't win that, you become eligible to come back in the All Stars version and compete again. So it's like a second chance, but only if you didn't win. So after 8 years of successful All Stars franchise, they decided to do an all winners version. So winners from the franchise came back to compete, which was awesome. It was a great one. So I recommend that.
Okay. I'm going to check it out for sure. Sounds fun.
All right, folks, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about drag? Are you a Drag Race fan? And have you ever seen a drag performance in real life? Let us know your thoughts, and we'll talk to you next time.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, welcome back. And I just wanted to ask Chris a question. So, Chris, what the hell is wrong with you?
What the hell is wrong with me? Well, I am so glad you asked. This is going to be our gripe segment, and we're going to do this every once in a while when something comes into our mind that really irks us or makes us mad. Here is what's wrong with me. California is burning, and people are being assholes in the comment section. That is driving me insane. We are seeing the worst firestorm in California history and devastation that is unimaginable for a lot of people. And losers have taken to the comment section to say things, political things, to politicize this tragedy about the left and the right and libtards and conservatives and all of this bullshit that has no place in this tragedy. And I'm very angry about it. It's really making me upset. Teena, what do we do with these people who have no heart and no compassion trolling all over social media?
I don't know. I think it's terrible. I think when somebody is suffering a tragedy, the last thing they need is to experience is to be shit on about it. You know, you might not like the fact that they have a lot of money, or you might not like the fact of where they chose to live, or you might not like California, which is very popular for everybody to hate on California. And I think it's terrible. I think people are losing their homes, whether you like those people or not. Right. I think we can all agree that for your home to burn to ash with all of your personal possessions in it is a terrible, awful thing. And regardless of how you feel about someone individually, I think we can all agree that it's awful. And
nobody deserves to experience that. No one should go through that. Nobody deserves to
experience it, and people who would take that moment to belittle someone or say that they deserve it or say, or it's awful. It's inexcusable.
This idea that the Palisades fire happened in a wealthy neighborhood and therefore people feel the ability to simply say, oh, well, they're rich, they can deal with it. Oh, too bad the rich people are burning. It's like, well, first of all, yes, Palisades is a very wealthy neighborhood, but it's not just celebrities and millionaires living up there. There are working class people in the Palisades. You know, there are successful working class people. There and again, because they're all part of Hollywood and all a part of Los Angeles has been wrapped up in it now too. And I don't know if you've noticed that, but people are talking about Los Angeles as a horrible place to live and the mismanagement of this and that. And it's like, why are you attacking a city that doesn't need to be attacked in the middle of a terrible tragedy? We didn't do it on 9/11 with New York. We didn't do it during Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. We don't do that during national disasters. And yet California burns again. Yes, we get it. It's a seasonal natural occurrence. We get it.
It's one of our seasons.
You're tired of it. But guess what? The problem is not because we didn't rake the fucking leaves. The problem isn't because there's not water available or because our government cut redundant expenses in the fire department. That is not what caused this. So take your bullshit off our comment section and go have a nice day. That's what's wrong with me. Thanks. Well, that marks the end of our third podcast. Teena, can you believe it? What did you think?
Well, we're on our way. I'm not sure where we're going to go, but we're going to find it together.
Well, that's true. That's true. So why don't we quit beating around the bush? Let's get this episode out there and see what the world thinks.
I think it's going to blow up. People are going to love us.
You do? I hope so. I don't know. I mean, oh, do you know? Of course it is. It's going to blow up. It's going to be massive. But it won't be if the people don't help us. We need your help, people. Go ahead and give this video a like if you had a giggle, and leave us a comment. Tell us your thoughts. Ask us some questions. And if you disagree with anything we said, let us know.
And please don't forget to share our posts. Tell your friends about, the two midlife weirdos who are going to, they're determined to have fun or die trying, because that's us.
Right. That is right.
We're going to be here every single week, and we really hope to see you here along the way. Thanks for watching. Say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris. Bye.